Hey guys, it's Nicole Bills here with Wayfinding with Nicole, your favorite life coach. And it's still October and we're still talking about relationships. And this is the third in our 3-part series about relationship attachment theory and the trauma associated with it. And our first, we talked about identifying our attachment traumas. And in our second, we addressed how to start working with the wounds and start that healing process. And now we are going to get into how we create a foundation to develop healthy attachments with ourselves and with others. So we're going to talk about how to identify and align with the culture that we want. And then we're going to talk about some actions to take. Okay, so let's just dive right in. Before we can build a foundation of healthy attachments, we need to investigate and plan. So we're going to investigate what's already been cultivated, and then we're going to plan for how we want to do it, how we want to change it, how we want to grow, and how we want to build this new foundation, right? So in doing so, we're not going to look for the right and wrong answers. We're going to look and see what aligns, what doesn't align, and how we're going to change it. We're going to do that through kind of my 11-ish kind of culture questions to ask. They're designed to break through the heart of patterns that are established and reveal where you want to expand your growth and align. Always, always, always start with yourself before you ask your collective. And that's going to be who's ever in your relationship culture that is a trustworthy person that you're committed to growing with. Your partner, your partners, your household, your family, your friends, your work, etc. Again, the best advice I can give you is to be honest and patient in these evaluations, because you're going to want to be blunt. You're going to want to be blunt with the questions you ask of yourself, and for your collective, you're going to want to hear blunt answers. It's the only way we can know where we need to put in the work. This is not a pass-fail. This is a what is true and what is aligned and what is not, okay? Feel-good answers hold you back. They don't help you move forward. They feel good to hear for a short period, but they don't fix that quilt. If you'll remember the analogy from the second session, we talked about how attachments are like a quilt that our great-grandmother gave us, and there are some pristine sections, and then there are sections that are tattered and worn, and we're wanting to mend it to move toward a secure attachment. Feel-good answers do not help mend, right? We want to mend. We want to move towards secure attachments so that we're open and we're available and we're resilient. Okay, so let's get into it. I might lose my count, but we're going into the 11 questions-ish because there are some questions that have subsequent questions like follow-up questions. Okay, number 1, what do you value? Number 2, where do you find your worth? Number 3, what are your love languages right now? Because those do change over time and with different people. Number 4, what are the desires of your heart that currently feel unmet? Number 6, what boundaries do you have? And then ask what boundaries are being respected. And then ask what happens when they are not respected. Now we're at 6. I told you guys I'd lose count. Okay, so number 6. Do you feel safe and supported to talk about your needs and desires? Number 7. What happens when someone is in the midst of learning, when they're making mistakes, when they're failing or they're disappointing? How do people respond to that? Is there shame or blame happening? If so, how often and when? How is feedback given? And then I would ask, how is it received? Number 9, what is your perception of vulnerability? And I might even ask myself, how do I receive vulnerability, right? Because often we perceive vulnerability different than we actually do vulnerability. Number 10, how are stress and anxiety handled? Number 11, what does self-care look like for you? So I want to have you guys take solace in that things will not be fixed overnight. So don't feel like you have to rush right in and tighten every screw and dust every corner. I don't know. It's analogies that work for you, right? It's not going to be done overnight. It's going to take time to permeate through what's already been built. If you recall, attachments are rooted in us, right? That's experiences that have confirmed and confirmed and confirmed and confirmed and confirmed ad nauseum that this is the way we can trust or not trust people. And now we're trying to undo all of that. It's going to take time. So have yourself in a place of patience and forgiveness. But trust that once you build this healthy foundation and the muscle of examining alignment, it gets easier and more natural to do. Okay, so to set an expectation for you in time frames, I am going to go to the lucky number 3. This is how I like to think in my own life in threes. 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. It's going to take about 3 days to assess and process the answers that we just went through of the 11-ish questions for cultivating questions for yourself. And then when you move on to your collective, it's going to take another 3 days to move through that, okay? Then it's going to take 3 weeks to sit with that discomfort of learning, where you're making blunders and you're trying again and you're rebuilding and you're seeing what really aligns and what doesn't, your refinement process. Then it's going to take about 3 months before you feel like you've gotten some good practice in and it starts to feel like an established habit. Now, I might hear some of you in the back saying, I thought it took 21 days to establish a habit. And I just want to say, that's just a lovely little bumper sticker about 21 days. Some habits take at least 21 days and some take longer, right? So let's just adjust our expectations. Wherever you are, wherever you fall on the spectrum of time frames is where you are. No need to push or pull. That's just where you are, right? Love the process and accept yourself where you are. And I know that's easier said than done, but your affirmation during this time should just be, when I know better, I'm going to do better. Because there's going to be mess ups. But each time you do, you're going to gain knowledge on what works for you, and then you're going to become more adroit at recognizing the way back to alignment. If you've read any of my blogs in September, you will have seen that I talked about how with motivation, we actually learn more when we try and fail than when we study and perfect and do it once. Okay, so go ahead, make it messy, make failures, figure it out, relearn it, and give yourself time. But what's our action? What are some actionable steps we can take? During these threes, the 3 days, the 3 weeks, the 3 months, there are action steps we can take for healing in those relationships that we deem trustworthy. And regardless of your attachment, wounds, if it's dismissive or fearful or anxious, these are all key. They're like a keystone for us, okay? What it is our brain processes information through our senses about the world. So we can heal our attachment trauma by involving our senses of touch, taste, sight, sound, smell, third eye. Experiencing through all the senses present strong new memories that are going to override those ingrained traumatic ones. Basically, the more you expose yourself to healthier stuff, the more adaptive information your brain can store. I mean, how freaking liberating is that? You can heal yourself. It's not a one-time activity. Emotional memories are stronger than visuals. Emotional memories impact us in various ways, making it difficult to connect to others because of these unseen barriers, right? So we talked about that our attachment wounds or secure attachments begin from in utero to our deathbed. So sometimes we don't remember, sometimes we don't want to remember, and sometimes it happened before our memories were established. But they're there. The conscious mind may not remember it, but the subconscious body mind does. But I have hopeful news for you guys. There's been a lot of research, but I'm going to quote some research from 2004 from Rudder and O'Connor. They studied Romanian adoptees who were maladaptive in their attachments, right? So they weren't held, they were abused. Excuse me, I knew I shouldn't have put sugar in my tea. It makes my throat all sugary. Okay, so the 2004 research. They studied maladaptive attachment styles and brought in mindfulness and some of these 3 activities I'm going to tell you guys about. And they were actually able to relearn healthy attachment patterns in people. And that is just amazing. So when we are charting our new course and we're thinking about what activities to do to help with that building a foundation, okay? So we ask the questions to kind of plan our foundation, and now we're going to actually build the foundation. And we're going to think in 3 categories. Yes, I know, 3 is my favorite number. Number 1, skin to skin. Number 2, eye contact. Number 3, play. And this is true for all attachments. If you are a baby, or if you are an old lady trying to get together with an old dude, or an old lady, or whomever you want to get together with when you're old. If you're looking for intervention of your old wounds and increase a healthy attachment, skin to skin, eye contact, and play categories are where you should be looking for actions. So as adult, we're going to spend a lot of time unlocking with our barriers with ourselves before we move into our collective. I can't say that enough. And we're going to use activities that engage these 3 specific areas. We're going to get real comfortable with uncomfortable. Keep it lighthearted attitude. And the reason why is when we laugh and smile at any mistakes we're making during this time, that helps release this illusion of control. And then when we move on to working with our collective, that reciprocal laughter that you have together says, you're okay and I'm okay, which nourishes our heart's desires to be blessed and affirmed for who we are. So smile, laugh. It's not anything that's going to prevent you from continuing to grow when you fail. Failure is a way to learn. With a lot of the relearning, when we release that old story and we build a new one, that's a time of chaos. But don't worry, chaos marks new beginnings, right? When a star is born in the cosmos, in a nebula, I don't know, I'm not an astrophysicist. I just listened to one. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. Anyways, a star is born in a web of violence, and light emerges from the depths of darkness to reveal what's been created. That's you, reknitting a new life. So learn to live with the swells of confusion and chaos because you are enough. You're just expanding. Always, I am just a click away for your next session. And if you are interested in specific actionable steps and activities to do for growth, it's all there on my website. Just click for a free download and make a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.